traveler to my realm of nightmares. Allow me to be your personal assistant in my realm. Come in, take a seat, get comfortable, for when you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.
This is some fucking bullshit. Okay, so I work primarily as a babysitter, but with what's been going on, I haven't been getting any business. That was until yesterday. I got an email requesting my services to watch some kids for the weekend. I replied that I'd love to, provided their kids are healthy. I also informed them, due to the circumstances, I need half my pay in advance. They agreed to it, and said they'd drop it off at 8. I made sure to clean up before they arrived. I was getting through the vacuuming when I heard the doorbell ring. I turned off my vacuum and told them to come in. "Hey," I said, coming down the stairs. "Don't worry, your kids will be safe with me. I just need to know if there's anything important I should know about." My voice trailed off when I saw who was inside my house. Standing in my living room was a family of 4, a dad, daughter, mom, and son. All of them had deathly pale skin, like they hadn't seen the sun in years. That wasn't what made my blood run cold, though. It was their pitch black eyes. The instant I saw them, I got an overwhelming urge to run out of the house. The problem was, they were right at the bottom of the stairs. I thought about running back up and jumping out of a window, but I doubted a broken ankle would increase my chances of escape. Besides, they weren't technically doing anything to harm me. I figured my best course of action was to talk to them. "Can I help you?" I hesitantly asked. "I am the client you spoke with earlier," the dad said. "Wait, what? You guys are... but you're..." "Aliens, demons, monsters, we've heard it all," the mom said. "I am Eliza. This is my husband Norman, our daughter Louise, and our son Abraham. Anyways, now that we've gotten the formalities out of the way, we need you to watch our kids for 5 days while we take care of something." 5 days? "But he said that I'd only have them for the weekend," I said, pointing to Norman. "And it doesn't matter anyway. I want you all out of my home." I pointed to the door. "You aren't in any position to be making demands if you don't want to comply. However, we can show you what happens to our prey," he said. "And what would that be exactly?" I replied, trying to call his bluff. Norman made a choking motion with his hand. Instantly, I felt like a vice grip was crushing my windpipe.
Okay, fine,"
I choked out.
"I'll watch them."
"Good," he said, releasing me. I rubbed my throat. "I want the first half of my payment, though." Without a word, the mom reached into her purse and pulled out a large stack of $100 bills. "If you do a good job, there's more where this came from," Eliza said. "But if we come back to see so much as a scratch on either of them, no hell that you can think of will compare to what we do to you." "Yeah, I got it," I softly replied. "Good," Norman smiled. His straight, white teeth looked out of place in him. "See you in 5 days," he said, and left with Eliza. Words can't describe how awkward the silence was as the kids and I looked at each other. "So, is there anything you guys need?" "No, thank you." "We'll let you know if we do," Louise said. "Right," I'll be in the kitchen if you do. For the first few hours, nothing really happened. They just sat on the couch and watched TV. That all changed around midnight. I was on my laptop when I heard one of them come into the kitchen. It turned out to be Abraham. "Do you need anything?" He stared at me for a couple moments with his soulless black eyes. "We need you to take us somewhere," he told me. "But everything's closed." "Not where we need to go. Don't worry, it won't take long." We went in my car, and it began to drive us out of my neighborhood. "Where are we heading?" I asked. "Just keep going. We'll let you know when we're there," Louise said. The place we went to turned out to be the cemetery. "I'm afraid to ask, but why are we here?" I inquired. "Our parents gave us specific tasks to do while they were gone. The first one is here." "Right. And what exactly is it that you're supposed to do here?" "Follow us." "Can't I wait here?" "We need you to come. If you don't, we'll tell our parents you hurt us." "But..." "Fine." I got out of my car and quietly closed the door. We walked into the graveyard, which was dimly lit by some lamps. Abraham and Louise looked around. "There," Abraham said, pointing to the tallest gravestone. "What do you need from there?" I asked once we walked to it. Louise pointed to a shovel resting on a nearby stone. "Dig," she told me. "Are you crazy? I'm not digging up someone's grave," I said. Before either of them could reply, we heard someone yell at us. "What do you think you're doing?" a man called to me. It turned out to be the groundskeeper. He was too far away to make us out completely. "We're just passing through," I called back. "Then why are you holding my shovel? And why are you parked outside?" "I thought it looked cool and kinda spooky here, and the car's not mine." "Really? Then I guess you won't mind if I have it towed." "No, wait," I pleaded. "Ah, so you admit it's yours," he said smugly. "Okay, you got me, but it isn't what you think." "Then what are you doing here?" "I need to dig up this grave?" I realized saying that didn't help me look any better the moment the words left my mouth. "You are doing what?" the groundskeeper asked, raising his voice. "That's it. I'm calling the police." "No, wait," I said, but he was already taking out his phone. That was when Abraham and Luis began approaching him. At first, he told them that they shouldn't be at a graveyard. When they got closer, however, he stopped talking. A look of fear came over him, and he tried to run away. The children began levitating off the ground like ghosts. They flew towards the groundskeeper and caught him with ease. Despite him being larger than them, they were able to hold him down with ease. I rushed over to them to try stopping them, but it was too late. When I reached them, I didn't understand what I was seeing at first. My mind registered it after a couple seconds though. Some sort of black inky substance was shooting out of the kids' mouths. It covered the groundskeeper, making him look like a shadow with a solid presence. I could hear him screaming as he was being suffocated by it. Although it was muffled, when he finally fell still, ending his torment, the kids took the stuff off of them. They did it by breathing it back into themselves. You know how the tape's victims look after Samara kills them in the ring? The groundskeeper's face looked similar to that. The only difference being the fear that was playing in his eyes. I handled it like most people would, by freaking the fuck out. What in the name of all that is sacred did you do to him? I cried out. We stopped him from interfering by exposing him to our essence, Abraham said. I don't know what that means, but now we have a corpse to deal with. I was on the verge of tears. Then it's convenient that we are in a cemetery, Louise said. Now, I suggest you continue with what we came here to do, if you don't want to meet the same fate as him. I reluctantly dragged the groundskeeper's body to the tombstone, then began digging. Happy place. I'm in my happy place, I sobbed as I did so. I opened the coffin to reveal the skeleton of a man who had been buried with some golden items. This included a gold-handled dagger, a gold-framed hand mirror, and a golden pocket watch. Grab him and his things, Abraham said. Oh, come on! You want me to steal a corpse? We do, Louise said. I sighed and picked it up. After I got it out, I threw the groundskeeper's body in the coffin, then put the lid over it. Disturbingly, there were some scratches on the inside of it, and what I figured was dried blood. I drove us back. Nobody said a word the entire time. I tried not to think about the fact that I just witnessed a man get murdered, and that there was a long-dead corpse in my trunk. When we got back, the kids went down into my basement with the corpse and the things we took from it. They haven't come up in a few hours. I managed to type this up in the meantime. I've dealt with poorly behaved kids in my time, but Abraham and Louise are a bit much for me, and I have to deal with them for another 4 days. So, does anyone know any tips that might help me? Part 2. Okay, so I've been looking up different means of dealing with the kids and their parents. I've seen claims they are vampires. In that regard, I've tried some of the classic weaknesses associated with vampires. However, the garlic and religious symbols I put around them don't seem to be affecting them in the slightest. It may have something to do with the fact that I myself am not a religious person, or maybe they aren't vampires after all. Granted, I haven't tried the oak stake through the heart method, but I doubt I'll get the opportunity to. The other theories I have heard are them being aliens or demons of some kind. If the former was true, I wasn't really sure what I could do to get rid of them, other than cooperate and hope for the best. If they were the latter, some kind of ritual might do the trick. The issue is that I don't know which one to use. There are lots of different rituals, as it turns out, and I doubt I'd be let off easy if I tried one and it didn't work. I'm not sure what we stole from that grave is being used for. I tried going down into the basement to check. When I tried opening the door, however, I found I was unable to. No doubt this is the kids' doing. Speaking of whom, they made me do something else tonight that I'm not proud of. This particular task required me to go to the store. Although that sounds like an easy thing to do, it ended up being far more complicated than I thought it would be. The children, being distrustful, decided to accompany me to make sure I wouldn't get up to any funny business. We ran into a problem. The store closed earlier than expected. Hey, what's the big idea? I thought this place closed at 7. It's only 6. I said to who I assumed was the manager, or assistant manager, locking the door. Sorry, but we're closing early due to being short-staffed, he replied. I didn't know. Can you let me in? I only have a few things to get. It won't take long. I would, but it isn't up to me. Again, sorry. We open back up at 6? He walked by me, and I was left feeling defeated. I went back to my car to let the kids know the bad news. Needless to say, they didn't take it well. Our parents gave us specific tasks to do for each day. If we do not fulfill them, they will be disappointed, Abraham said. Well, I don't see how that's my problem. If you wanted me to go to the store, you should have said something earlier. The store being closed is not a factor in whether or not our task gets done, Louise said. What do you want me to do, break in? The kid only stared in response. It can't wait until tomorrow? They shook their heads. And if I don't, I'll end up like the groundskeeper? They nodded and I sighed. I thought that I would have to break in. Had that been the case, the store's alarm would have been a pain to deal with. Luckily for me, I noticed the employee before heading back towards the store. He must have forgotten something because he unlocked the back door. Also, lucky for me, he left it ajar. I slipped inside and began searching for what I needed to get. The things I needed were some chalk, black and red candles, sea salt, and a sketchbook. While I could find these items without much trouble, the issue was avoiding detection. The employee I talked with seemed to be frantically looking for something. This was a huge pain in the ass, because he was searching in the area of the store the stuff I needed was. I did my best to go unnoticed. However, that was easier said than done. I managed to get everything but sea salt. I went to the aisle they had it. I found it on the top shelf. As I grabbed it though, I noticed something else. Between the bottles, I grabbed and pulled it off the shelf to find that it was a cell phone. I put two and two together and figured that it was probably what the employee was looking for. Speaking of him, found me holding it, which led to a misunderstanding. What the hell are you doing in here? He asked. I already told you we were closed and... Is that my phone? Yes. You were looking for it, right? He nodded. And seeing as how I found it, could you do me a favor and ring up this stuff for me? I handed his phone back to him, and he looked at it and let out a sigh. Look, I really appreciate you finding my phone for me, but if I ring up any new items, I could be fired. Besides, you aren't even supposed to be in here anyway. I see. Well, the only thing I can do then... I abruptly turned and began running towards the exit with the stuff I got. I heard the man curse loudly and run after me. I was able to make it out of the back door. I thought I was going to reach my car and get away scot-free. That was, until I got side-tackled by a police officer. You got some nerve, he told me. Wait, you don't understand, I replied, trying to reason with him. Oh, I understand. You thought you could steal from a store that's already running low on shit people need. We already have enough trouble with selfish assholes who buy 100 rolls of toilet paper in bulk. We don't need shoplifters on top of that. I felt him put handcuffs on me. Oh, come on. I didn't even take anything important, and I would have paid for it. I gritted in pain from how tight the cuffs were. Sure you were. Also, chalk, a sketchbook. Most people would only steal what they need in times like this. I guess you're a dumbass on top of being a thief. I already told you, I'm not a thief, or at least I wasn't trying to be. The cop ignored my words. He planted a foot firmly on my back. He proceeded to pick up the stuff I grabbed. Then he proceeded to hand it back to the employee. That was when I noticed something that made me feel the color drain from my face. The back doors of my car were open, and the children were no longer in it. Guys, I'm telling you, I need those things, I shouted. The cop cut me off and was telling me to shut up until the employee pointed something out to him. It was that the kids were standing before them. Their features were obscured by shadows. The hell are a couple of kids doing out so late? The cop muttered. They're with me. I told him I'm their babysitter. Is that right? Huh. Hey kids, sorry you have to see this. He yanked me to my feet. He then asked the employee to watch the kids while he put me in his patrol car. He yanked me to my feet and started walking me towards it. He paused when he realized the kids were coming towards us. His and the employee's eyes grew wide when they were close enough for them to make out their features. May we please have that basket? Abraham asked. The employee attempted fleeing. When he did, Louise started to spew that dark, inky substance from her mouth. The cop, presumably on autopilot, took out his gun and tried to fire at her. She didn't give him the chance to. The inky stuff shot towards him fast enough to surpass any bullet. I thought she was going to do what they did to the groundskeeper last night. Instead, I saw that his eyes had become black like theirs. A stream of that inky stuff was connecting him and her like strings to a marionette. She made him raise his gun and shoot at the employee. The shots hit him in the back dead on. Then she made the cop put the gun in his mouth and pull the trigger. I can tell you firsthand that the sight and smell of a man's thoughts being splattered on the parking lot is not healthy for one's mental state. Shocking, I know. I threw up on the spot. Abraham went over to the deceased's employee and grabbed the basket from him. Then he and Luis went back to my car. To make matters worse, in addition to what I just seen, it was in sight of some security cameras. Trying to explain what happened to anyone who saw the footage would have no doubt caused me more trouble. Plus, some of the cameras probably caught me stealing from the store, now that I think about it. I went back inside the store and located the security room and erased the footage after Abraham used the key on the cop's belt to unlock the cuffs I had on. I stole some cleaning supplies, including drain cleaner after that. I put the cop and the employee's body in my trunk and then cleaned the remains off the parking lot. When I got home, I used a drain cleaner to dispose of their bodies. The kids once again took the things we got down to the basement. In spite of what I've witnessed during these past couple of days, I can't help but feel a growing concern towards what the children's tasks are leading up to. Hopefully, I won't have too many other corpses to dispose of in the process. Tonight's story is called I'm Babysitting Black Eyed-Children. The story is written by the talented author Rose Black. If you've not checked out his Reddit, the links will be in the description below. Please check him out. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ding that bell for all future content.
And as always, travelers, once you step into my realm, there's no stepping out.